Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Gruber Wired. I'm Mark Beach.
I'm John Dotson, and yes, welcome back.
Welcome back. Yeah. Got a little rain today.
Yeah.
Gonna get a lot of rain tomorrow.
Well, they say a lot, but a quarter of an inch maybe. We'll see.
We'll
see how it goes. For us,
compared
that's
to
a
what
lot.
we've been getting, not good for spring training, maybe. I don't know.
Hey,
Unless
maybe.
it happens.
Who knows?
Yeah. It's good stuff. We love it.
Yeah, exactly. So, hey, man, we just had a great February.
Yeah.
Business, once again, is... Hey, whatever's going on out there, we're seeing lots of infrastructure going up. Things are changing, especially in the manufacturing world.
Right. It's booming. And before I forget, everybody, if you have any stories about John Dotson and you want to post them,
Here we go.
While we have
Here
this
we go,
podcast, go ahead and just put them in the comments, and we'll do some
Thanks,
story
sir, Mark.
time. You
Appreciate
bet.
it.
No
Yeah.
problem.
Story time, right? Yeah. Speaking of that, we have decided to do a little bit of a talent show here at Gruber.
Yes.
And so we've been tapping into, our
The
employees out
zeitgeist.
there. Yeah, call it what you want to call it. But hey, I've noticed we do have an extreme amount of talent on property with people.
They're just too shy to show up.
Exactly it. Everybody's kind of camera shy. So we got a couple of us that decided to just do a little singing, have a little fun.
Priming the pump.
Yeah, if that's what you call it.
Yep.
And so we're going to show a few little snippets of that, and then those are going to be going live later on today or tomorrow, and they'll be out there shorts.
Right. They'll be out in shorts,
Yeah.
and you can vote for them. Thumbs up if you like it.
Yep,
You want to vote for it? Yep.
Vote for it, and then we'll come back sometime in April and kind of go over who might be a winner, and we got a little trophy, and
There you
be
go.
kind of fun, just something fun.
There
right?
you go. I like it.
Yeah. So, Cass, do you have a few of those snippets?
Oh,
Certainly.
Boy, here we go. I wonder if we need this to hear. Yeah. Oh, I can't hear it in here.
You may not be able to hear it. We're not sure, but it will be. You'll be able to hear it when it comes out on the actual shorts themselves. So, yeah, that's me truly right there. Had to get on a little bit of action there, have some fun.
There you go.
You know,
What else we got?
got a couple others there too. So, I did a few. Let's see, we're pulling them up here. So. Yeah, it's been kind of fun and interesting. Like I said, you really know there's a lot of hidden talent that we have out here. But then, like I said, people get camera shy.
Yeah.
And so I kind of understand that. It's just the way it is, you know.
I agree. I think
That's like Aaron back in the corner. Aaron, what's your favorite talent? What is it you do back there? The camera
Sorry,
shy.
I couldn't figure out how to turn on the microphone. I'm at a news station today. My favorite talent other than pizza eating.
Pizza eating. There you go.
I do bonsai.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
That's
I guess
kinda
that's
cool.
a little bit of a talent. I've been doing it for 5 years now.
Really?
6 years. Yeah.
And is that more of like an art form?
Yeah, I would say so. I like the growing of them, and then when I used to flip houses,
Yeah.
I used to have a bunch of bushes and trees that we were trying to save to put back into the landscaping. So when the pandemic hit, we kind of shut down a little bit to see what was going on, but I got stuck with all these, plants. So I had to keep them alive, and so I started sticking them in little pots, and
that's
and
cool.
started joining the Phoenix Bonsai Society, and been doing
Really?
it ever since. Yeah, this last Sunday we had a show, a bonsai show at the Japanese Friendship Garden.
How cool is that?
So
Well,
so I guess
that's something we didn't know.
Yeah, totally cool. You have to get some pictures, some photos, so we can show them later on.
Yeah.
That'd be totally cool. So, Cass, you got some others pulled up there?
I sure do. I've got this one pulled up.
Yeah, there's a little bit of us there.
Yep, that's a duet.
Yep. And don't you have her solo too?
I do. I can pull that
Erika?
one up. Give me
There we go.
1 second.
So, hey, what can you say? We were having fun, right?
Hey,
There
Mark,
you go.
So
where's your
we just
talent,
go
Mark?
with it.
Uh,
Yeah, what's your talent, Mark?
Yeah, you can't quite translate pissing people off to the video, so that's
That's it.
that's
huh?
a little
That's your
hard.
hidden
Yeah.
talent.
And my hidden talent is debate.
You
Yeah.
are a good debater. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of them. I have Photoshop. I like to do Photoshop, and
Yeah, I've seen some of your Photoshop work.
not that stuff.
Yeah. Who else you got, Cass?
You want me to show them some of my Photoshop stuff, John?
There's Erika.
Then here's Erika's. She's doing a lovely ballad.
There we go.
Very cool.
So yeah, these are all going to go up in our shorts on our channel.
That's right.
So please make sure you
check them out.
Check them out. Thumbs them up.
Yep. Have some fun with it.
Most thumbs up will get a trophy.
Get a nice little trophy.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So what are we talking about today?
What we're talking about today is, like it says in the background here, made in the USA. We thought that with everything going on with tariffs, that are taking place around the world, talk a little bit, how's that going to impact us? How's it going to impact the normal person,
right?
Our everyday commodity type items, and also from a business standpoint of view, what that means translating those tariffs into, say, USA manufacturing.
Right. And, you can look at it a few different ways. We look at the investments that like Apple and TSMC. I had to sneeze there for a minute, but it went away.
There.
Gosh. Like TSMC, hundreds of billions of dollars are being redirected onshore.
Correct. Yeah.
And is it worth it to pay a little more for things if more Americans are employed and more of it's made here?
Sure.
We get you can't get away completely from global interdependency, but the more we are self-reliant, I think the better. The more stable our economy is, the more stable our supply chain is, obviously.
Sure.
The less control and outside influence foreign nations have. So it really keeps our national security tightened up by being able to produce more things here.
Sure. And part of the being able to produce more things here is having an understanding that I think the uncertainty fears people.
Yeah.
Because we don't have some of this infrastructure in place. It's going to take time to put that infrastructure in place to have some of that manufacturing come back to being full capable USA made.
Right.
But I think what people don't realize is something even as simple as a cell phone, right?
Right.
You're not going to find a USA made cell phone. I mean, we'll tag it as USA made, but the components themselves and the integral parts and pieces come from various places all around the world.
Right.
And so we see that in a variety of products. I mean, take a look at, your television screen that you might be watching right now in your television. I don't know of an actual American-made television. There's a few out there. But
it used to not be that way.
Yeah. It has changed a lot.
Yeah. So, I think there's some good reasons to bring as much onshore as possible. And I think from a technology standpoint, I know that with having to share technology with other parts of the world, it's created counterfeit products and things like that may not be the same quality that would be produced here. So I just think that overall there's just so many benefits to the idea, and whether you're paying it a bunch in income tax or you're paying a little more for goods, and our tax rates go down, the money just shifts columns really.
Sure.
At the end of the day.
It does. It really does.
One promotes really growth within the country, and the other, it was a boiling frog, right? It was something that happened over decades and decades and decades, the slippage of manufacturing offshore, and our supply chain got crippled during COVID. It seriously got crippled.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw that with everything from toilet paper, which was the most ridiculous, stupid thing ever. Just
water. Bottled water
parts
was crazy.
To make things. Whether it was components that went into cars or even cell phones, just computers, everything. Our entire business sector was crippled in one form or fashion that way. So this has really prompted a lot of thought as far as why we need to approach this in a different way now, and go being more self-sustaining rather than globally
Sure, and we need
interdependent.
that. I mean,
Yeah.
we need to get that manufacturing back here. But like I said, the fear and uncertainty comes because we don't have immediate infrastructure to meet those needs. And so we're going to still have to rely on imports for some time
Yep.
as we decide to put this infrastructure into place. So yeah, prices are going to go up. And I think we all understand that. We all understand how that really works.
Right.
But there's still a lot of people out there that are very fearful of what's taking place.
Sure.
You know, and so that's where, you know, people like us as being who we are coming in as a USA manufacturer, you know, the one thing we can do to help the system is build value.
Right.
You know, take away the fear by building value.
Exactly, and that's what we offer with our products because, you know, we don't have the same labor rates as China does, right?
No, not at all.
So, you know, the quality that we put into it, the USA made wire from Quabbin, connectors, all of the stuff that we put into our components, makes up, I think, for the price delta.
Sure.
You know, and the lifetime guarantee, let's not forget about that.
Yeah.
That's our, you know, ironclad gold seal on our products.
Yeah. Hey, I think as Pete chimed in there, Erika is a Guthrie from the Woody and Arlo fame. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Recently acquired knowledge, but I did know that. Yes.
So yeah, and actually Erika actually had been part of the what was it? American Idol. She actually tried out an audition for American Idol.
Yeah. So Tyler Powerware, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of spelled backwards there.
Yeah. Thank
It's
you.
a cool podcast. Well, thank you. We appreciate it. So anytime anyone comments, they will take it. It's a lot of fun.
Is that Noah?
You know? I
Did
think
Noah
it's
do
probably
that?
Noah. I'm not sure, but
It seems like something Noah would do.
yeah, possibly.
Right.
That's yeah. So, but we all know that these tariffs are just going to not only impact us but impact worldwide, right?
Sure.
And we're seeing the retaliation from countries saying, well, if you're doing tariffs, we're going to add tariffs, and we're going to, you know, we kind of see this bidding war on tariffs taking place out there.
Right.
So let me ask you, being in the political side of things, how do you see this from the political vision of tariffs and how it plays into our economy?
Well, first, I see that the tariffs with Mexico and Canada have nothing to do with economic factors. It has to do with the war on drugs and the war on human trafficking. And when your neighbor, your closest neighbors, don't support your efforts to protect the lives of your citizens, of Americans, and they make it difficult on you to do so, then they're not really your friends, and they don't need to be treated like friends if that's how they're going to behave. You know, if they won't help on their end protect our borders, our shared borders, then they don't deserve, you know, favored status in the economy of things. As far as China goes, China is out to destroy us. They have been for a long time in a friendly way. They want to beat us economically.
Sure.
But, you know, with the Navy that they're building and with all of the rough talk that they've engaged in against the United States, make no mistake, they want to beat us any way they can. And they choose the economic route now, but I believe that unless we really take them on and make sure that the playing field is level, all the way around, then
all bets are off, right?
You know, down the road we'll be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
So I think that some of these steps are warranted, and I know that after 2 months it feels like it's drastic, but you have to understand that a lot of things have been left to rot for a long time.
Sure.
And sometimes cleaning up is a messy job.
It's going to be messy. And I go back to that fear and uncertainty because it's just the fear of the rapid unknown. And when I mean rapid, we're seeing a lot of rapid changes out there taking place. And so it kind of, you know, just that fear overwhelms people. But tariffs could be a good thing. It could be a positive step, and that's what we're talking about, especially in manufacturing industry, bringing work back to the United States of America and building the infrastructure and manufacturing that we need.
Well, sure. I mean, the American government was funded solely by tariffs until...
Was it 1913?
Yeah, until the income tax was put into place.
Yeah.
And, it could be funded that way again. And so, when you increase our tax base, when you increase commerce within the United States, there's a whole lot of other opportunities for generating government income to support its citizens. But with the bloat and everything that's been discovered as far as the waste, the fraud, the abuse, then I think that there was just a whole lot of pigs in the trough.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. Yes.
Right.
No, I get that. Now you bring up the taxes, and this is something I've just thought about. Tariffs in a good way, right? The good effects of tariffs. So prices of goods and commodities go up, correct? And then we as consumers will pay a little more for those.
Right.
But at the same time, too, I'm thinking to myself, hey, doesn't that also mean we're paying more into sales taxes, right? At the local level.
Right.
So now we're seeing funds go into the state levels to help out where, they have a need for those funds as well.
Right. Well, it's a percentage, right?
Sure. So the percentage is going to go up.
Right.
So I see a benefit there at the local level, at the state and local level. For
Well, it
people.
also is an opportunity to lower taxes.
Correct.
Because, so Maricopa County, which is the county that we live in, has been one of the leading counties in the United States as far as population growth the last 25 years. I mean, it's been over 100,000 new residents a year.
Yeah, insane.
Sustained for 25 years. All right. And that's a lot of, I understand it's a lot of roadways. It's a lot of everything, but it's also a lot of spending that makes the sales tax revenue. It's a lot of income for the state income tax. It's a lot of business activity for corporate income tax. So for the state, the revenues have just been climbing. Unless you have a governor that misplaces $360 million, and then you got to wonder.
Yeah.
But that's a different topic. The idea, though, is that when you get closer to full employment, and this goes to the United States, when you get closer to full employment, more people are paying into a system. That means that you have more to work with, and the burden should be lighter individually when more people are paying into it.
Sure, and that's going to help with the expansion of growth.
Right.
As it comes down on the table.
Right.
And that's something that we've noticed here. Like you said, we'll take us in the Phoenix area as an example. We have grown tremendously over the past few years. I mean, it's been crazy since I've even come to Phoenix, right? We're now, the 5th largest city in the United States?
Right.
Per capita. But we've seen that infrastructure taking place. Taiwan Semiconductor Plant, we talk about that all the time up north. They're putting another $100 billion into the state, right?
Right.
Packaging plants. So you have to have all these services. We have Intel out here. I mean, you name it. We have all of these things are going in play. The Mayo Clinic is building a new facility. We see a lot of this infrastructure coming in,
Right.
which is a good thing. It's what we really need, right? And a lot of this is kind of sparse, comes along with that added thing, of tariffs that we're talking about.
Right.
So we're seeing it come into place here in Phoenix, and I suspect that Phoenix is going to be the next tech capital of the United States.
I agree with that.
I can totally see that taking place in the
No
environment
earthquakes,
that we're
no
in.
hurricanes, just some heat.
Heat, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. But that can be dealt with.
It can, and the good news is, look at who we are, and we're right here in the center of this epidemic of this growth, right? We're a cable assembly house, metal manufacturing facilities. I mean, you name it, we have the infrastructure needs right here to help support that.
Right. And so, one of the things that I think we're doing a great job of so far in, let's say, Deer Valley School District here, Maricopa County, there's career and technical education that's part of high school education.
Nice, yeah.
And so people are realizing that you don't need to spend tens and tens of thousands of dollars to go to a public university to get indoctrinated and not learn anything and have to come out and then find a job, when you can learn a trade
Correct.
and go straight into that trade right after high school.
Yeah.
You know, I think that there are some really great programs out there. I know Deer Valley has all the contracting, all the construction type of jobs. So welding, you know, carpentry.
So you can learn all that right in high school now.
Right
so when
during
you
high
come
school.
out, it's no longer a prerequisite that you have to go to college or further that education.
Right.
Now, granted, I'm not saying that don't. I'm saying you should always continue to want to educate yourself and move further on,
Right.
you know, with your education. But understanding that there is a need for this trade schooling, for those elements, especially in the technical world.
Right.
We see, like I said, this infrastructure coming in, Taiwan Semiconductor, Intel, and so forth. I know ASU has a program geared just towards that now.
Right.
And because we are going to need those workers in those critical areas.
Right. And it's just an example, a great example of where education's meeting a business opportunity and they're working hand in glove, which is why I think Phoenix has grown, Maricopa County has grown so well thus far, is because of some of the, you know, foresight in planning and building, you know, the right base to
Building that infrastructure.
right, to help, because the workforce is part of a city's rating. You know, workforce literacy, workforce education, and the surrounding opportunities that the workforce has for continuing education. And I think it's great. I think that what we're doing here is something that makes a lot of sense.
It does, and I actually, looking over some of what was taking place in our area out here, I'm wowed by it.
Yep.
You know, I really am, because we are sitting on the forefront of the next step of the open doors of what's to come.
Right.
You know, and if you go complete full circle, I know we kind of go around a lot of this, and you know, our conversations take one way or another. But again, this is one of the positive steps of having those tariffs.
Right.
Is we can see the monies, you know, that are coming in, because yeah, we're paying more, but we're also getting the benefit of generating extra money for this educational system.
Right.
You know, and seeing that we are going to have those funds that will help compensate to get the, you know, education out there for these employees.
Right. Right. As long as wage growth outpaces inflation, then it doesn't matter how much things cost, right? And that's really the bottom line. So, you know, you just have to keep looking at those two indicators and making sure that one always stays above the other. And then it doesn't really matter at the end of the day how much anything costs.
But
it's all relative.
Yeah, it is. And again, I go back to that word value. Okay. You got to build value, not just in your products, but in yourself with your education, so forth. Those people who are coming up out of high school nowadays understand your worth, your value.
Right.
That will take you a step further in finding those higher wages.
Right.
You know, and a lot of that is understanding your place and what is taking place, you know, and seeing, oh, wow, I like this tech field. I like this industry. I'm going to go learn that trade versus going over here to learn, you know, whatever college degree it might be,
right.
Science and literature, whatever it could be.
Sure.
But the opportunities that I see that are presented here in our environment are just wide open.
They are. And it doesn't, you know, I mean, there are things that require degrees. I mean, that's never going to change. There's, you know, all the STEM jobs, right, are going to require degrees. But there's it's so much of a bigger world out there than just that. And there are people out there making a ton of money who never went to college.
Sure.
Right. And, you know, they're more artistic, or they just have a knack for certain things. When I was growing up, I knew a guy who didn't have anything more than a high school education, but the guy could fix cars. Now, he didn't take a class in his life to fix cars, but the guy knew cars inside and out. He made a living at it for his entire life.
Yeah.
And that's really just how it is. And, you know, you find something that you can do and do well, then the money follows.
And yeah, but here's the thing about it. Everything, and I go back to this again, it's a symbiotic relationship, right? This is something I tried to instill in my children growing up. understand that somebody overnight while you're sleeping is working at the wastewater facility plant,
Right.
so that you can wake up in the morning, use the restroom, have a cup of coffee, and your day goes on. You might not be suited for that job or something you want to do, but guess what? The person down there enjoys doing that.
Right.
They found a career in that. And so it doesn't matter, in any aspect. What matters is your self-value and worth and where you want to be in your own life, because we're all in this together.
Right. Right. And if whatever you do pays the bills, lets you put money away, helps you raise your family and provide, then no judgment, right? I mean,
No,
at the end of
none
the
at all.
day, there's a lot to get done. And so that's why I'm excited that, rather than people, I mean, for a couple decades here, we've had people go to college just because that was what was expected to happen next.
Yeah.
They had no interest in it. They got student loan debt as a result of it. They may have a degree that is completely useless and isn't going to translate into how they make money in their career, but they were expected to do it and they did it.
Yeah.
And that's just not a smart path financially, or even, from an emotional standpoint. You want to be successful. You want to do what you love. And if you spend any time going a different direction than toward what you're going to be and who you are, then that's all wasted time.
It is. And I see a lot of people, they're held back by themselves.
Right.
They really are. You have to understand who you are and find yourself and your inner peace with that, and go out there and then you grasp it. You wrap your hand around your world. I'm not saying the entire world, right? But your own environment.
Right.
And you forge forward. I guarantee you will find the value if you are happy doing what you like to do.
Yes.
You will find the value no matter how much money you're making. You'll find a way to make it work.
Right. If you love photography, right, you didn't need to take a course and that teaches you about the rule of nines, right? You don't need to, some people have an eye, have a knack.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need the formal part of it to do what you love, and things happen, right? The joy shows in what you do. And the same thing with people who are artistic. They find outlets for that and ways to express it. And when it's not forced, it really is something to see. Like your nephew or cousin, Matt.
Yeah.
The stuff that he does is amazing, and you can tell he loves to do it.
Yeah, his passion.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not. None of it is, I don't think, to pay the bills. I think he does it, and that's just what happens because he can sell it.
Sure.
Right. So those are the kinds of people that just find the way.
Well, and see, that way is there for everyone. That's
Right.
what's great about the USA, made in the USA, right? Is one of the greatest things that we have is this inner freedom, this outer freedom. We have the ability to guide ourselves in this way, to follow those passions.
Right.
We're not being told we don't have to. We have to be this way. We have to be that way. We're not governed by that.
Right.
And that's one thing that is a beautiful thing. Now, we're going to circle this back around because I know we started off talking about tariffs once
Right.
again. But again, when it comes down to it, yes, we're going to go through the tariffs. We're going to see prices and whatnot raised. But you know what? There's an opportunity cost for that.
Right.
And that opportunity cost is I can make decisions.
Right.
No one else makes them for me. I can be who I want to be. I can purchase the commodities I want to purchase.
Right.
I'm not being told what I can or necessarily can't do. There's some limitations. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But
Well, the funny thing is, because you talk about it, but there's a balance.
Yes,
There's always
yes.
a balance. And when I was looking at the material that we were talking, preparing for today, I noticed, because I had generated a list of stuff that was, industries most affected, and then industries that benefit.
Yeah.
And so on the one hand, steel and aluminum imports are going to become more expensive. On the other hand, that makes steel and aluminum manufactured or mined and manufactured in the United States more affordable.
yeah.
Right? So there's a balancing act that goes on because of the shift.
Correct.
And
We're going to see that here in our industry. The cables coming from overseas
Right.
versus the cables made in the United States.
Right.
We're already starting to see the pricing on those come to a place where it's going to settle down. And guess what? Yeah, we're almost going to be in line with each other, I
Right.
imagine. And then,
Closer anyway.
And closer, yeah.
Right.
But
where
you're gonna see
the
that
difference
benefit.
is going to be less, and it might be better than to go with Made in America, because if you're talking about, percentage points difference in price, you might want to go with the Made in the USA.
My son is getting in on this here. That dude on the left looks like my father who went for milk and never came back.
Oh no.
Thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate it. My son does watch this from time to time. Apparently he's watching today. So
But is it
Love
true?
you, buddy.
But is it true?
No, it's
Daddy,
not true.
Daddy.
No.
Is that
Thanks,
you?
buddy. Wow,
boy.
he caught me on that one.
Yeah, that's
So,
pretty funny.
Yeah, right?
Well, I think a half an hour's flown by.
Too fast. And
Yep.
again, thank you, everyone. We appreciate it. Don't forget to go watch those talent show
Yes.
videos that'll be out there. We do appreciate that too. Like, subscribe, share.
Yes, we need to keep growing.
We will.
We got an exciting
Right.
guest next week. You want to tell about it real quick?
I can't remember his name offhand.
Okay, I
should
didn't mean to
know.
put you on the spot. How about this? It'll be a surprise, but it'll be
Let's
worth
see
the
here.
visit.
Yeah, it will be worth a visit. His name is Kyle. He's VP of an ice manufacturer.
And a podcast extraordinaire.
Podcast extraordinaire. So he's
Podcast prodigy.
prodigy. There
Say
you
that
go.
10 times
Yeah,
fast.
right?
Right?
So,
We'll,
we'll let you be. We're going to head out for some rain,
yep.
right?
That's
so
it.
Let it rain, and life goes on.
So until next week, I'm Mark Beach.
I'm John Dotson.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
one.